Uh, Good afternoon, folks. I'm here with Ordan today, and we're going to have a little chat. Ordan probably knows a little bit more about what's going on in Macedonia than myself, so I'll just ask a few questions. Ordan, what do you think the future holds for us, man?
Well, look, the future will be determined by the choices that we make as people, as a diaspora, as a civilization, bearing in mind that the Western imperialists for a long time have, especially from 1930 onwards, have had a consistent toxic policy of divide and conquer Macedonia. First they divided it in 1913 and officialized criminal acts, in the Paris in 1920s after the First World War ended, and without the consent of the Macedonian people. So you've got basically elites, corrupt elites, not worthy to be called, ruling classes, but they
Puppet class.
They are sort of like evil, depraved people and cultures that want to dominate others, right? And this is deeply rooted in their Western traditions, which they sort of claim they are above everyone else, but in fact they are below everyone. With their shameful policies of colonization from 1913 onwards and continuation against a peaceful people such as the Macedonians.
So we're not really in control of our destiny, are we? At this point in time, I think someone else is calling the shots.
Well, look, we have to differentiate between the actions of government and opposition in Macedonia, which are more or less puppets of Western imperialism and Western propaganda that includes EU and NATO propaganda, and then the wishes of the Macedonian people expressed in democratic elections, and starting from when Macedonia became independent in 1991, people might use democracy to free themselves from entanglement, from wars, and the Macedonians were, how can I say, very peaceful, and they showed that they want to use peaceful means. We're not going out fighting with, like, for example, we're not terrorists like the Albanian terrorists that were supported by the US. We defended our country and we'll defend it again. But you've got these so-called strategic partners, i.e. the EU, the United States, the European Union, and others who are meddling in Macedonian affairs, and NATO who are meddling in Macedonian affairs, and they are trying to block our civilization, our freedom, our human rights from emerging and from thriving. And this is not acceptable. We've gone through elections, we've had referendums, and these idiots have got no shame, they've got no ethics, they've got no, how can I say, humanity in them. And I'm really disgusted, honestly. I've had a country of this rubbish. We had elections recently this year, and the Macedonian people decided one thing, and what we got is a new regime following the same old evil policies of SDS and DUI, and to have people now in government who pretend to be, who treated the Macedonian, who tricked the Macedonian people into believing that change is possible and they're listening. In fact, it just shows through their actions and policies by repeating the same mistakes as the previous regime, then these are marionettes of the West. There is no hope. We need new policies, new people. I don't have much hope or trust, or no one can have hope and trust in sold-out people, starting with the current Prime Minister, Mickoski, and the President, and others in the Parliament that are sellouts. It's only a few that stand up for Macedonia, reject NATO, they reject injustice, and the people have been again disappointed, and especially those of us in the diaspora that follow Macedonia and will never give up on Macedonia. The struggle continues.
So, VMRO proclaims itself as the ultimate patriotic party.
Yeah.
What do you think that their future project for Macedonia is? What do they think? What will Macedonia become according to what they want?
Well, look, what you have to understand is the major political and minor political parties, most of them, not all of them, these we have to differentiate, especially the major political parties, including the Albanian ones, are not democratic parties. They are just psychological operations, outfits that pretend to be democratic, that pretend to be concerned about history and identity. They can't be trusted. There's no quality in them. There's no sustainability, and they have to be called out at every occasion. Right? And we can't just sit around and say, "Oh, this is." It's not acceptable. We won't accept it. I hate the fact that Macedonia has been renamed into this North Macedonia. And I'm thinking, if this North Macedonia, where the hell is South and East and West? So we will start thinking, asking legitimate questions of ourselves, but also of the people that pretend to be representing Macedonia in the parliament, and also of people in Europe that pretend to be democratic and liberal democracies. Then they're all just fake. They're all just fake liars, and they can't be trusted. That's the sad reality.
Are there any parties in Macedonia that you do trust?
Well, look, it's a very complicated situation because the current, we were hoping that we would get rid of despotism under SDS and Duri to be replaced by new despots from VMRO and this blend Albanian neo-Nazis who basically ensured for the first time celebration of the framework agreement, which is a complete disaster for Macedonia from day one, and that's not acceptable. And the whole thing, this whole thing with Prespa and pretending that the whole thing bila završena rabota, TS is završena rabota, like they've just started a new chapter in the fight, and the Macedonians around the world reject this treachery, this betrayal of trust. It's not fair, we will continue to fight them and their puppets.
So, brother,
Yeah.
why did people expect VMRO to be different, the Dopamane to be different?
Yeah, because
Why? Haven't they been part of the government before?
yes, look, unfortunately, the poor people of Macedonia have been given bad choices. First you have a political party like VMRO. They want nothing to do with VMRO. They don't support Macedonia. They're not about national interest. It's about a power grab, a resources grab, positions. That's what they're interested. They're not patriots. They're not committee. They're nothing. They can't border that to anyone. So rubbish. And then you've got the so-called social democrats, again, scum, unfortunately scum, no quality, no backbone, no values, no ethics, rubbish, man, that's shameful. And then you've got Albanian extremists. I'm not against the Albanian people, they're all good. Some people, in every society there's good people, so including the Albanians, but their political parties are complete CIA puppets, right? And they do the dirty work for the CIA in Macedonia, and they cause trouble, and they are pushing us against the wall. They are really, pushing things to a very dangerous level by talking about instability, this, that. The only thing that needs to happen is for these political parties to be registered and for their leaders to be, held to account legally and politically. That's the solution.
But there's a contradiction in what you're saying, bro.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Well, it's not in what you're saying, it's in the reality.
Yeah.
People are want independence in Macedonia, but at the same time continue voting for two parties that are puppets who want to continue the relationship between Macedonia and the West as one of master and servant.
That's right. So therefore, I think this creates the need for new entrants in the political scene. Like in Germany, we've got Alternative for Germany, and they've been labelled as being, far right, fascist, this, that. Why? Because they asked for independence for Germany, because they want peace and cooperation with the Russians and the Chinese, because they are realists and they want better alternatives. Like Germany has become a puppet state like Macedonia. So, we need to understand this cancer that's eating away at Europe is also a bigger problem. It's not just the Macedonians, but this is something that Uncle Sam gave us. It's a cancer we don't need, and we reject. And this whole propaganda is unsustainable.
You hit the nail on the head when you said that Uncle Sam runs Germany now too. Now, that's what freaks me out, the fact that even a country as powerful economically as what it was and as influential as Germany, so we as poor Macedonia, it appears like we have real no power at all.
Listen, that's what they want us to think, right? But that's rubbish. They know it and we know it. The vast majority of the citizens in Macedonia reject these shameful things that are happening to us. This Prespa agreement, Ohrid framework, Bulgarski agreement, Shqiptarizacija, Albanization forced upon us. We don't want that. We reject it.
Why don't they express it in parliamentary elections?
Well, that's going to happen. We need new, political parties. As I said, like Alternative for Germany, Alternative for Macedonia. We need to come out clean what we stand for. Right? We can't just... these clowns that serve to us are not fit for purpose, right? They are completely quality, deprived. No vision, no ethics, not sustainable. They're not representing me, they're not representing the Macedonian people. They are puppets, whether they're Albanians or Macedonians, both major parties, the Macedonian ones and the Albanian ones, are puppets of US empire, of the CIA, and that's the bottom line.
So, I asked a question earlier. Are there any other parties like that around now?
I think they will emerge.
At the moment there aren't?
Well, look, you had Levica, right? But they also they were tarnished as well, because we had a color revolution, and they were throwing, paint.
Paint bombs.
That was not a good thing for them. But putting that aside, Macedonia is way too important to be held ransom by anyone. I don't care. I'm not in the pocket of anyone. I'm not after any, power. I'm after justice and sustainability for Macedonia and best deal possible, right? And that's why we can connect with other sort of progressive forces in Europe and around the world that have got similar issues, right? In Sweden, there's a lot of things that are happening against the wishes of people.
All right, brother. Thank you very much, guys. They say in Shepparton that the Batsi Krachka. I'm trying to inject a bit of levity in it because, I personally, I don't know what the hell's going to happen there. I see a really bleak future, personally.
Well, look, things aren't looking good with the current setup. It's a disaster. And they should be ashamed of themselves. I'm calling out Mickovsky, and we declared them as,
persona non grata.
That's right, they're not welcome here, and we'll call them out on every occasion we can, and everyone in the world should do the same.
Ordan, I don't think that putting numbers or letters after your name to suggest that you have a link with something of the past, I think that's bullshit. I'm going to call it out too. I think modern parties use your own names and stop using the names of past glorious parties.
False and misleading
because when you do, you will be held to account not just for what you do, but for the fact that you're using someone else's glory and credibility
That's right.
as your own.
That's right.
So, da žive i Makedonija i makedonski narod. Ама македонски народ треба да застани, да не подкрепува уште истите партии што не дојсоа до ово место. Треба нешто ново да се влези. Може и тие неке чинат, тоа не може. Јас, I'm not a futurologist to tell you. But if you continue doing the same thing, voting for the same people, expecting the different result, you'll finito la musica, passato alla festa. Zbogom lughe.